Morning. Good to see you guys. I hope that people are enjoying. So while I was sitting through, it was too technical, the first two sessions, and believe me, I'm not going to talk anything technical here. Yeah, is that fine? Yeah, we'll talk about some use cases. So just to give a little background while they get the collar mic if possible, so that I can walk around and be interactive. I am the CIO at Arvind Branch. So just to give you a little bit of background, Arvind Branch is a retail division of Arvind Limited. And we basically are retailers of most of the brands like the US Polo, Levi's. And if this works, yeah, it works. Perfect. And we manufacture a lot of brands as well. And what I'm going to talk today is kind of use cases of retail and IoT put together. And obviously, a lot of you would be consumers of our brands. And I would want kind of feedback as to where do you see these things coming into retail industry. So let's keep it interactive. What IoT means for a retail and a consumer company. So we heard the first presentation saying how many devices would be connected by 2025? Yeah, somebody was not sleeping, which is good. Okay, 50 billion devices. What's the population of the world today? 7 billion. So approximately 1:7, 8. Yeah, one individual connected to 8 connected devices. Isn't it scary? Yeah. How many of you feel scared about it? Okay, only 2 of them. Rest of us be happy. All right. So it is scary to some extent, but it is a big opportunity as well. And that is what I'm going to talk about today. So how many of you feel what is retail industry going through now as we speak? What is the disruption which is happening in retail industry? E-commerce, yeah? And we will talk about how physical retail is now gearing with IoT to combat the online channel. So give you some perspective of what a survey which was done with almost the global retailers worldwide. And surprisingly, although people might be hearing the hype around AR, VR, AI and stuff like that, IoT is the most adoptive technology by 2021 by most of the retailers. So it's a very good news for all the IoT folks, isn't it? Yeah? So machine learning and automation are featuring below IoT. Is that something that people thought would happen? And I'll kind of talk you through some of the use cases. And there are very, very powerful use cases. Retail is going to transform because of IoT. If IoT is implemented correctly, the way retail is today and the way retail will be in 2025 will be very, very different. And consumer companies and retailers and consumers will all come together and have a very different kind of commerce environment in the days to come. Store and supply chain, predominant 2 broad areas of implementation of IoT. So obviously in-store technology is going to change quite a lot. Supply chain is going to transform with a lot of IoT sensors and things like that. And there are a lot of equipment which is going to come into the stores. Everybody with me till now? Perfect. Let's move on. So how does IoT help retailers or consumer companies? There are 3 broad themes which I want to cover today. And the first theme is obviously, which is, we always say consumer is the king. And one of the things for a retailer or a consumer company do today is to enhance the customer experience. What online channel brought is an enhanced customer experience. That is why people adopted it. Now that is a thing of the past, or it's happening. Okay. Now what is happening, what is going to happen in the future is very different. So we'll talk about how do you enhance the customer experience. Second is how to improve the efficiency models in an ecosystem, in a consumer or a retail driven ecosystem. And then third is how can company reinvent themselves with new business models. And these are the 3 broad paradigms or kind of aspects that I will kind of talk through today. So if you look at in-store experience, to give and I will try to focus on this for a little bit. Now, why did why did e-commerce company have such a kind of a leap start as compared to the traditional brick and mortar companies? Sorry? Convenience, okay. What else? The real reason is when you log into a website, the website is able to track every second of your movement, right? And hence, it is able to target you better, it is able to give you the offerings better, and it is able to serve you better. So it is the data industry which is the most important thing. And what the physical retailers lacked is this data. So I run about we run about 1,500 stores. My conversion rate of a store walk-in is over 10 to 12%. So 100 customers walk in, I get data only of about 10% of my customers. 90 people walked in, walked out of the store, what they did, why they did, I did not know anything. E-commerce companies knows each and everything, why you abandoned one item, why you removed one item, what you did, why you did, and they are able to that way target better. And so what was lacking is the ability to track the customer at the store level. And that is what IoT is going to do this. And it is a big revolution what retail will go through if all the things which I have mentioned here is going to be a reality. So let's talk about a few things. I will not go through all the things. Personalized shopping experience. So when you log into, let's say, Amazon or Flipkart, you said, you bought this, so you should buy this. Yeah? Recommendations. Yeah? And personalized to you. Right? And how many of you walked into a store? Sorry? Sentiment analysis. Yeah? How many of you walked into a store and said that, Mr. X, you purchased this, so I will offer you this? Hardly any. Right? And that is what the transformation is. So we as retailers are experimenting with a lot of technologies, be it computer vision technologies, be it with sensors on the phone, be it light sensors. So we are working with a very large lighting company to understand how can you identify it. So one of the biggest problem that a retailer has today is to identify the customer who walked in. It's very easy on an e-commerce on an online space because you are always logged into Google or Amazon, right? But when you walk into a store, you are not logged into anything, right? And what we are doing today, and IoT with a lot of these kind of technologies which are coming in, they're still on infancy stage, but I think a day will come, not very far, in which I should be able to recognize that Dr. Vez walked into my US Polo store in Indiranagar at 5:30 p.m. in the evening. And so I will be able to offer him, he is a black suit fan, I will offer him a 20% discount on black suit so that he will purchase it every time. I don't have that capability today. IoT is going to provide me with that. And so we are experimenting with a lot of stuff around that. Now once you walk into the store, so once you have identified, once you walk into the store, what happens? You take up 6 items, walk into the dressing room, pick up 1 item and discard the 5 items. I don't have any mechanism, or we are trying to experiment a way by which, without kind of not going into too much of a privacy, identify what those discards are. And obviously sensors on the washing, on the trial rooms and things like that, which is where interactive displays, smart mirrors and things like that will come into play. And one of the biggest challenges is how do you make sure you do all these things without intruding into somebody's privacy. And we as retailers have to be very, very careful. How do you make sure that you do it so that the data that you collect about that customer of what he or she is doing is very, very secure. So there is dual challenge which is there. Technology is maturing. You have to do it in a way that it is not going to, because you have heard stories about trial rooms, right? So you have to be very, very careful in doing that. Assisted shopping. A lot of devices are being talked about as to how do you make sure that shopping can be a good experience. How many of you feel that the experience today is great? Not many, right? That is why the the people are moving away from offline shopping to online shopping. How do you make sure that you bring in technology to make the shopping experience much more richer, much more meaningful, and much more faster? So these are a set of technologies. Obviously beacons, no need of talking about it, have been experimented quite a lot. There have been kind of some success, some failures. We are trying to evolve around that. Smart shelves is a technology. How many of you have seen the video of Amazon Go? Right? Most of you. And that is what smart shelving is all about. It is nothing but a set of very, very intelligent sensors on the shelves which will tell you exactly what you picked up. And these kind of technologies, when they come into a retail ecosystem, is going to change the way you shop and the way you have an experience at a physical store. And it is not very far. People have shown it. So a set of technologies all put together is going to revolutionize retail and give you a very, 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 very different kind of a shopping experience on a physical store. And believe me, all the people 4 years back were saying that physical stores will be dead, but I think now it is said that physical stores will remain, but they have to reinvent, they have to rediscover and give a good experience to the customer. Everybody with me? Any questions till now? So that we can save some time in the end.
See, generally when you go to the shop, you want to check the price. The shopkeeper also says that, okay, I can give you 10% lower than what you get in online. And I've seen this trend in many places. Actually.
Absolutely. And I think that's what the channel-specific retail mindset is. People still used to refer that online and offline. And what the retailers are doing, and as we are doing, is that we are saying we'll be with the customer anywhere and everywhere that you are. So we will not say that you are an online customer, you are an offline customer, right? So we will be with you every time. So as you rightly said, what is happening is pre-commerce is now becoming a very, very big part of a retail journey. Earlier what used to happen, you used to have big signboards in the stores, people walk in, they convert and then you buy and then you basically take points and things like that, loyalty. Loyalty is now happening in pre-commerce. How do you make sure that you are available everywhere where the customer is searching you? So if somebody, so we are working with social media platforms by which we say that if anybody types saying that white shirt in Indiranagar, we are present there on Google as well. If somebody says that, okay, I visited a Arrow store in Commercial Street, we basically make sure that we collect that information and thank that customer in appreciation of that. So commerce is no longer going to be just people walking into the store and then doing a transaction of purchasing. Purchasing is now becoming a very, very small part of commerce. It is how you position the brand, how you interact with the customer, and that is what I talked about. So obviously the focus here has been predominantly around in-store technology, because there is a lot of these sensors and devices which will come into the store, but there's a lot of pre-commerce which will happen, and that is what people are talking about. So the end-to-end journey, right from pre-commerce to which is the discovery part, and then to commerce and the post-commerce, all the things put together is what a retail company or a consumer company should look at, and not only the sales. All right, so retail is going to change, right? Everyone agrees? Excellent. So if we move on, how do you make sure that you get an end-to-end view of the customer? And this is what I was talking about. How do you not only talk about just the commerce part? How do you make sure that you understand the entire life cycle or what we call as the lifetime value of a customer, and you try to measure that? And that is what the transformation is happening. And how do you have a view of that data? So what is the customer doing? The customer is a fashion enthusiast. We would want to connect to them. What kind of trends that they are talking about? And it has nothing to do with my sales. How do you engage with the customer? How do you kind of keep that relationship warm, understand, take feedback so that I can design it for them? How to get that 360 view and engage with the customer to increase the lifetime value of my customer? And that is what retailers are talking about. And there's a lot of kind of underlying IoT technologies which will help us do that. Just to put things in perspective. right? How many sensors are there on a phone today? Yeah, Samsung will know for sure. Anybody else? Sorry? It's anywhere between 7 to 15. Yeah, depending on the phone, type of phone that you have. And it's increasing. So you are being watched, and I don't know what will happen when there are 200 sensors watching you. But it is bound to happen. Right? Security is important. What you watch for, how you secure that data. And we as retailers, we as physical retailers who have kind of taken care of the customer, we want to make sure that that is our prime importance. It's very, very important. How many of you get wrong recommendations? A lot of them, right? Retargeting. You purchase a ticket somewhere and then somebody somewhere else you log in and they say you bought a ticket here, you want a ticket again. So a lot of things are happening which are intruding your privacy. So we need to be very careful when we are trying to do these kind of engagements with the customer. So moving on. So one is we talked about the engagement with the customer. Second aspect we talk about improving operational efficiency. When you talk about operational efficiency, there are three large kind of initiatives which are driving the whole ecosystem today. And one of them is the smart shelves, which is still evolving, which is what Amazon Go tried to experiment. There are other people also who did, but they have not publicized it so much. But I think there's a huge amount of interest which is there. How do you make sure that your shelves are all intelligent shelves? The shelf itself will talk and transmit information about what is there and what is happening there. And that is a reality in maybe next 3 to 5 years. How do you make sure that anything which is moved, picked, or any movement in that shelf or in that aisle or in that bay is monitored and measured by any system remotely? And this is going to happen with a lot of sensors. Smart tagging of products. RFID, yeah, RFID is going to be, has been there for quite some time, but the acceptance rate has not been that high. Anybody guess a reason why? Sorry? Okay, expenses now, RFID tag, I'm told that is, huh? Okay. Sorry? Items, so we don't worry too much about privacy of items. So one of the key reasons was that the level of accuracy. What is the accuracy that anybody can give with an end-to-end RFID solution? Does it anyone have any idea? So I'm not talking about on a manufacturing context. Manufacturing context is pretty much it's a very controlled environment. Here goods will be manufactured in Bangladesh, lifted to a cargo station and moved all along, and just imagine that kind of, what kind of accuracy are we talking about? So people with a lot of RFID tunnels and scanners and things like that, still people are saying we'll be able to give you 99% accuracy. Is that good? So we kind of manufacture and sell about 3.5 crore pieces every year. And if 1% loss is there, I lose about 3 lakh pieces. Or I don't have information about 3 lakh pieces, which is a big number. And if I have to increase that from 99% to almost 99.9%, the cost to invest on so many scanners, so many tunnels, so many higher level RFID tags is still not giving the cost benefit analysis. So this is where the investment has to come in, to bring this technology more reliable and more cost effective. So that, and this, once this is done, and I think we are very close to that, we are very, very close to that, I suppose, because it's 99%, so earlier 95, 96, 99, and now it is, I'm hoping that in the next couple of years, and you've seen retailers like Target and a lot of other retailers have actually implemented RFID at an item level. Earlier it was at a box level, right? Because people didn't want to invest in too much of RFID tagging at an item level. But now retailers have started using RFID tags at a item level. And we are very close to achieving a very high level of accuracy. And once that happens, the inventory accuracy of a retailer will go drastically high. And believe me, anybody who has worked in a retail industry will understand what pain somebody has to go through in terms of managing inventory and the accuracy of the inventory. So that is a technology which is very, very promising. So it will open up a huge, all the warehouses will have to be transformed, all the supply chain and movement of logistics have to be transformed, and it will transform the whole industry and the supply chain itself from a consumer goods perspective. And obviously, in the store, there are a lot of things, all the fridges nowadays, so Samsungs or anybody you talked about, they all come with intelligent kind of sensors which tell you what is happening, anybody picked up anything from a fridge, what is the temperature of a fridge, how many items are there, and so on and so forth. And that implementation is now going to be a reality in the next few years. And so all these three things put together is going to enhance the operational efficiency of a retailer or a consumer company drastically. And people have to not spend too much time on understanding where my inventory is, what is happening, why am I not stocking, what is my replenishment level, and so on and so forth, rather than focusing on engaging with the customer and having a meaningful discussion with them. Right? So we talked about the consumer perspective, we talked about the operational efficiency perspective. Just take a pause here. Any questions? Yes.
We have been talking about the online. With all these technologies coming in and trying to get implemented, it's not going to come free. It's going to be quite expensive in terms of putting all these sensors, and these are all physical things which have to be done. Whereas the online guys, they don't still have to do anything. Now, how are we going to bridge that?
So, I will not go to the other part saying online guys don't have to do anything. So, how many fulfillment centers are the online guys opening?
So, for me as a consumer, I don't see that, because I still feel that it is. But this, I will still feel that there is a certain experience which I am seeing. The tendency would be that this is going to cost more.
So the way to look at it, I think that's a very interesting perspective. But the way to look at it, and that is what we are trying to do, is some of these technologies, as we talk, be it the in-store technology or be it the supply chain technology, have been there for a long time, and they have always been present such that they are siloed, and they did not have an ecosystem to talk to, right? And hence that end-to-end experience was never a reality, right? But now what is happening is, now because the ecosystem is there, there are various mobiles, analytics, sensors, this, that, and everything all put together is giving a tremendous opportunity. And to answer your question specifically, it is not about intruding into the customer's lifestyle, life cycle or the journey, and that is where the beauty lies. See why some of this. So if anybody were to go to the US, I think maybe 10 years back, Macy's had done a fantastic model store in New York, in downtown New York, but it never picked up. All the technology which I talked about were there 10 years back, because it was intrusive as well as it was siloed. So for example, that interactive mirrors, as we talk about, right? Just an interactive mirror has no value until it talks to my inventory, until it talks to my cashier, until it talks to a lot of other things. Exactly, a whole ecosystem and kind of supporting technologies to enable that and bring it to life, as I call it, is very, very important. And that is, we are at that inflection point on IoT. These technologies have been there for a very long time, nothing new. But its ability to talk to different ecosystem partners and integrate with various technologies to give you that experience is something which is coming now. And coming on to the online part of it, you know, right, who bought Whole Foods? So it is not online, offline anymore. Everybody understands that. Even after so much of thing, online penetration is 14% in the US, right? And it will not cross 50% in the near future till the 50 billion devices are connected. Any other questions? Right? So we gave a good experience to the customer, we improved the operational efficiency. And the third big opportunity which lies for consumer and retail companies is around reinventing their business model. Looking at different revenue or data kind of business models which can give you very, very different revenue streams. And that is what I will talk about. And so, very, very cliched term, data is the new oil, right? So, why is e-commerce company valued more? It's not because they are making a lot of money selling stuff to the consumer. It is because they have huge amount of customer data and their behavior data, which is far more important and powerful in today's world than the product itself. And that is what this kind of transformation is leading us to. And so what I will do is, since I come from a fashion industry, if you can just play that video, please. And you will see there are a lot of different revenue streams that companies are looking at. Consumer companies cannot just rely on selling stuff to the consumers. They have to give it as an experience. They have to be engaged in the entire life cycle of that consumer journey. So it is quite important that every company should relook at their business model, and I think it has started to happen in the West, and almost all the Indian companies, all the leading Indian companies are also starting to look at how do I create alternate revenue streams from the data that I generate or data that I gather from the consumers or customers. And there are huge number of innovations which are happening across. So let me talk about a few things that we are seeing. Intelligent fabrics is going to be very, very big in the coming days. And we are seeing early signs of it, but that being a very, very kind of consortium-led thing, it can catch up very fast because you don't need a large ecosystem. Intelligent fabrics. How many of you can feel that you don't need a mobile phone, but you can wear the mobile phone on your shirt or a jacket? How many of you think that that's a reality? Yeah, and we as Arvind are trying to work with the leading kind of innovators in the world to make sure that that is a reality. There are a lot of experiments which have been done, and we are trying to do that. How do you make sure that you understand the sleeping behavior of human beings? N number of things have been tried, right? Right? Fitbits and all those things have been tried, but they are accurate only till a certain extent. But fabrics can give you that information very, very clearly. A lot of psychology has been only based on you or individuals interacting with individuals with a questionnaire saying that, okay, give me this, then I will kind of be able to tell you. There would be ways to understand your behavior. And so there are immense possibilities which are there, which has nothing to do with the product per se. And that is where some of these kind of convergence between physical and the digital world will come in, and we'll be able to do that. Are we able to get that? So this is an experiment which has been done almost successfully. The jacket is available for $300 in the US at this point as we speak, and obviously there is a lot of scope for every one of us to work towards making this a reality. Everybody wearing an intelligent coat or a shirt, and coming into a symposium like this and then showing the shirt and then saying that this is my tag or this is whatever it is. And that is the reality of a retail and a consumer company. So with that, I would say thank you. Any questions? Anything? I'm more than happy to answer.
I have one question. What cost versus value challenges do you see today as you're innovating and you're getting the feedback from all these things as per today's context? Not maybe future, but what are the cost versus value challenges you see today?
So very interesting and a difficult question. I will answer it in two parts. One is whether should you invest in innovation? That's a no-brainer. Okay, how much to invest is the question, right? And what is the incremental benefit that you want to get out of it? Now, to look at it that way, what we are trying to do and what we have seen works well is the dual transformation mode that every organization is going through at this point of time. One is obviously we being a 100-year-old group, we have a certain revenue stream which is there, and that is going to continue for a little while, at least the way it is. So you need to make sure that your operations are running well, but on the other hand, you look at opportunities or early signs like this and then invest on those technologies where you don't know what the output is, but you are just as somebody, I went to a recent conference and somebody said it's all about spray and pray, the term called spray and pray. What does it mean? It means that you put your bets on 5 different or 10 different things and then pray that one of them works. Yeah, and that's what the reality is. But when you see certain successes early, your ability to catch on and latch on to that innovation and then make a disruption out of it is tremendous. And that is what is important, to make sure that how innovation is not about putting in billions of dollars, which is what I think a lot of traditional companies have been doing. It's not about the billions of dollars. It is about identifying the early signs where the next opportunity lies, and which is what I think you need some bright people to in your company to look at it and then make sure that that happens. And that is how we look at it, rather than looking at absolute number of how many billions of dollars you need to put on R&D and innovation as such. Yeah, slightly difficult topic, but I think that's how I see it, and that is how we have been following in terms of, we are saying innovation within the fabric is happening day in, day out for us. We have been innovating. Technical textiles is a division where we put in X percentage of the revenues and profits, and then it is continuing to evolve. So we are making, as we speak, we are making jackets. I think there is a 300-gram jacket that we have built out of waste paper, which is the lightest and the most warmest jacket ever produced in the world today. So those are innovations which will continue, and you need to feed them. But will that be sufficient? No, you need to look at the dual side of it, where you look at early signs of what disruptions you can build in. That is where the opportunity lies from an innovation perspective. Yes, sir.
So in last few years, we have been seeing all the retail chains or retail outlets are going online. So they have their own www stuff, right? In last 1 or so year, we have seen the reverse migration. Amazon is coming as its own retail outlet. Flipkart is also thinking on that ground. So, I mean, why do you think this is happening? Why this is, I mean, reverse migration?
Customers are saying, customers are saying out and loud that online is not the only way that I want to shop.
But then all the retail guys who went online did the wrong thing, or I mean, where does it stop?
Yeah, so it is not, and as I said earlier, it is not about online and offline. It is omni-channel, wherein you don't decide as a seller or as a provider of that service or a product, you don't decide where I will sell. And that is our fundamental philosophy that we're talking about. We'll be there everywhere the customer wants us, without a friction. So today what is happening is omni-channel is a reality, but still there is a lot of friction between online and offline. So I'll give you an example, right? Diwali time, a lot of rains, we thought a lot of gifts we'll purchase online. But fantastic. Yeah? No problems. We ordered some 40, 50 items. My wife was very excited. Okay, we didn't have to go to multiple shops and waste time and all this. The experience ended on that day. 50 different calls. I had to explain address to 100 people. I had to change my schedule for 20 different things. That's not a good experience. Right? And that is what we are talking about. So everything is siloed at this point of time. Physical retail was giving you an experience. So in a physical store, if you buy 50 items, nobody will say, I will give you 50 bills, right? We have solved that long back. But some people have not solved it today. You buy 50 items, you get 50 bills. And 50 packages, and 50 deliveries, 50 people to explain the phone, 50 people to change your schedule to. So people are learning. It's a learning. So some people are learning this side, some people are learning that side. Convergence is happening. Customer will decide which is the best channel. We have to be there in both the channels. And that's how we see the whole business. Yes.
Morning. My name is Mukesh. So you being a fashion industry, I take this leverage to ask you this question. How do you merge technology with fashion? Now, take an example of Apple Watch. How boring it is to wear a 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch screen day in, day out. Fitbit, a black band in your hand every day. I mean, I would love to wear watches which are different designs. There are millions of watches and designs rather than wearing one. Now you're showing about a jacket which is technology. How many jackets you want me to purchase like that?
Every garment that you wear is an intelligent garment. That is our motto. Your blanket could be an intelligent blanket, which is also a reality at this point of time.
So the technology in that will be like agnostic, and I can connect anything to that.
That's what. So I think to make it real at scale is being worked out, but I think it's a reality that it is going to happen. And it is very easy, as you saw, that within the jacket you can kind of put in enough silicon for it to be intelligent enough to do the basic things at this point of time. And this has been proven and tested with so many washes and so on and so forth. So it is available and working today. And obviously people will improvise on it and it will continue to make it better.
Right. Can we take some more questions outside?
Sure. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I hope it was some insights. I am here for some time. If somebody has any more questions, more than happy to answer. Thanks a lot. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Mr. Chauhan. That was initially you said